The situation is rapidly escalating, sir. They are coming in hot.
How many? How long do we have, kid?
2 offers, sir.
Alright, keep me posted. Recruitment, how we looking on the attacking third?
Another week. Maybe 2.
Sir, we've got a problem here. Now I'm seeing 4 offers on the radar. Not 1 pair. 2 pair. Repeat, 4 bogeys.
4?
Yes, sir.
4!
He's got a radar lock on Xerxes.
Get out of there, Xerxes! Get out of there, dang it! Offer fired! Xerxes been hit! Xerxes been hit! We've lost Joshua. I repeat, we've lost Joshua.
Launch DK on alert 5.
Six bogeys. They're behind Origi and Almoez. Firing!
Break hard right, Origi!
Voodoo 1, we are totally defensive. We need help up here.
160 miles and closing fast, sir.
Alright, launch Joe and Balogun on Cats 3 and 4.
DK Supersonic, I'll be there in 30 seconds. Move your butt! Get up here! I'm engaged with 5. Repeat 5. I'm in deep poop.
And Joe and Balogun?
No can do, sir. Both cats are down. Be about 10 minutes till they're fixed.
10 minutes? Baloney! This thing'll be over in 2 minutes. Get on it.
Almoez, how about some help? Engage, dang it! I flew right through his jet wash. I can't control it.
Almoez is disengaging, sir.
Good news, sir. DK is in. Fowler in. Fabio just signed. Jakic as well. Everyone else, I think, is in.
And Origi?
He's still with us.
Hello, my friends. If you enjoyed that ridiculousness, or maybe we're just confused, or maybe you just happen to be that Venn diagram in the middle where you enjoyed Top Gun as a kid and you enjoy my content and you're like, that was awesome, and you want to support the channel, stuff like that is thanks to these types of people here. So I just want to give a shout out to them for their support. Chris Carpenter and Zebu Nation just surpassed 4 years of supporting me on Patreon. CD Austria down there is my first YouTube member to hit a year. Everyone after that is a YouTube member. I got a notification that I got a new YouTube member, but it doesn't show up yet at the time of recording. So if that's you, I'm sorry, and we'll get you onto this list of people soon. I just want to say thanks. Their support enables me to dedicate the time to do this and, to buy, that microphone that you saw and the camera that I use. So just want to say thanks. Let's dig into the transfer window. So yes, my friends, Joshua Zirkzee, despite having signed a provisional contract at 91 grand, those 4 teams came in after the season. There was like 10 days left. 10 days left. And exercised his release clause. He could have turned it down. That's the thing, right? He could have said, I've already got my contract signed, I'm good. But they offered him 50% more than he's making with us. So, in short, my wanting to save us, 50 grand a week for like 3 months has cost us Joshua Zirkzee. And in the grand scheme of things, is a poor financial decision. But we didn't know that was going to happen. And at the end of the day, we bought a guy for $9.75 million. And a year later, we flipped him for essentially double, right? Like, what is that? $7.75 million more, which I'm not pleased about, right? I do agree with the comments from a couple episodes ago that said you could probably sell him for 40 or 30 or something like that in the future. Gutting that he's gone, but like, he didn't want to stay. He had an offer. He could have waited 10 days. And he didn't. So, that's unfortunate. And yes, my friends, Almoez flew right through the jet wash and went banking off to the left towards Crystal Palace. They activated his release clause as well. This one I'm actually not as upset about, to be honest with you. 27 years old, definitely a fine player for us. We got 6 million for him. He was a 6.9 last season, 6 goals, 5 assists. So, like, again, it wasn't like he was Joshua, who was essentially 14 goals in 31 appearances, something like that. So a goal every other game, essentially. You know, important player for us, but we got him on a free. We flip him for 6 million, and you kind of go like, okay, I think I could probably find other options like that. Unlike Joshua, who I think is like, wow, young stud, 23, much harder to replace. Just going through the outs here, we have also sent Karim back out on loan to Paderborn. They're essentially paying his wages, so 13 grand a week. They're paying 10.75, plus the monthly fee to make up the difference. I think that's annoying how it's listed. He got a loan fee. It's like, no, he didn't. I mean, he did, but financially, they covered his wages. Last year in the half loan from the winter through the summer, he did 15 appearances in the Zweite Bundesliga on a 6.76, which is fine. It's really to get him to develop so we can sell him. I don't think he's our next left back. I think he's been replaced by other Karim. Second Karim. This is the original. Maybe we should change it. Last significant out here, we have sold Nassim to Luzern for 875 grand. He just wasn't cutting it for us. 5 starts, 9 subs, 1 goal, 2 assists on a 6.67. Just like, meh. Now, we didn't play him consistently. No one was really interested in loaning him. When he was loaned to the Zweite Bundesliga, he did slightly better, but he's not a worldie, right? So I said, hey, if we can get 875 grand, he had a year left on his contract. He is one of our academy prospects, which kind of hurts, but we got paid for him, and I think we've replaced with a bit more quality. Now for the ends, my friends. You already knew about Daryl DK, but this is how he shows up to us, okay? So his finishing and free kick taking have improved over the summer as we've gone through preseason. We have played a couple games. We'll show you all that, but he's here, and he is going to have to be one of our main threats. Yep, sure is. As noted in the intro, we were able to get Joe Gelhardt back on loan. Here's the deal. We're paying full wages, 19,750. Okay, we're paying those wages with an optional future fee. It says 16 million. That's not true. It's like 16 million for the fee plus an extra 10 million over a certain period of time and like percentage, like number of games played and all that kind of stuff. It's like a 29 million euro deal. I'm not sure Joe Gelhardt is worth 29 million euros. We'll just have to see how he develops. He's currently 2.5 star on the squad, which would indicate, even though we've lost Xerxes, we've improved. Wonder how. But it's one of those things. They, middle of March, they were wanting, like a mandatory fee, and they didn't want to loan him, and they wanted like the loan monthly fee to be a bajillion euros, a month. And then afterwards, they were like, hey, if you'll agree to maybe buy him, we'll just do the wages and no loan fee, like no monthly fee. And I was like, we just lost Xerxes and Almoez. Yes, I would like Joe Gelhardt back, even though I think, in all fairness, I think it's a good deal because of it's just the wages. He gave us a 6.87 last season, but he's not like he wasn't a world beater either. So the fact that he's coming back is good, but it's not like we're getting Joshua back. I keep saying Joshua back. Can you tell I'm regretting that? Yeah, that's a bad contract move on my part, but I think also in the grand scheme of things from a Schalke standpoint, it makes sense. You go like, hey, we offered a guy max contract, 91 grand with us. We risked that he was going to get bought, and he did, and it made us some money, and off we go. Yes, my friends, I don't know if you caught that in the intro, we have signed Fowler and Balogun. Apparently, we're turning into Schalke America. Like Full America, like Fulham, it's Schalke America. We now have Daryl DK, Fowler and Balogun, and Joe Scally on the squad. 3 Americans gets in. Evan Rotundo apparently has decided to no longer be an American and is now listed as French in the information screen. Now, he hasn't had any appearances for France, so he could switch back, but it's not looking very likely. I think it's more likely you get into the American squad than the French squad. That's just me, bro. That's just me. Anyway, Fowler and Balogun is here. Yep, we signed him because Almoez got bought and Xerxes got bought. Now, we did have to pay a little bit more, but the thing is, the transfer budget was like 39 million after the Xerxes sell, which also it didn't give me a real notification that he had agreed to go to Monaco. So I'm a little irked by that. But they gave us 39 million total, so take 17 whatever out of that, and that kind of gives you the original amount. It was like 22, something crazy. And so we had money to spend, and they did have the thing in the vision that they wanted us to spend all the money. So Fowler in here, again, I'm kind of going for that Xerxes feel. Like he can play all 4 attacking third roles. He's a young lad, 23, with upside. He's fast. We need to work on some of these things, but he's not terrible. I think he's an improvement over Almoez. He's not an improvement over Joshua, but that's what we have Origi for. Last season with Arsenal, he had 13 subs and 1 start, 2 goals on a 6.9, but it's like, you know, how much did he actually play? Again, SI, if I could please just get the number of minutes as a column. Like, let me add that as a column. I can't right-click and add it. It just... graph? What? You give me a graph. What does this even mean? Give me a minutes column. But anyway, hasn't really played, right? They loaned him to West Brom a couple seasons ago in the championship, but then, like, has kind of sat, you know, in the setup and rotting. So I felt like we had to go rescue him, obviously. And as you can see, we paid 15 million, but it is going to rise to 23.5 million. I still think that's a good deal, right? We get 17 and change for Joshua. We up front pay 15 for Fowlerin. Again, I'm not saying it's an upgrade, but you know, we are paying him 50 grand versus the 91 grand for Xerxes. So in a way, it kind of works out. You wanted loans, people. I'm giving you a loan. We've loaned Kostas Shimikas. Yes. Yes, we have. Yes, even though we have like 3 left backs. He was available. He's an improvement. We're only paying the 76 grand in wages. We didn't have to buy him. So how I look at it is we got a 24 million euro player for 76 grand a week, which is what we would have paid him anyway. And we didn't have to spend the 24 million. And he's an improvement. So what this allows us to do is now Bolison becomes the like reserve left center back. And David Hanko becomes the starting left center back. And we're going to try a 3 at the back system as well. So we might play both of them. Thomas becomes kind of the rotation, but also can play like in midfield. So we might use him for that. But Shimikas, obviously, very, very good, clearly. And he only got, I mean, look at it. He was a 7.44 in 5 starts last season. He's just itching to make an impact. And we're going to give him the opportunity to do just that. Now, this is one for the future. Montader Majed. Maybe. Swedish. Hello, Pekka. I was really intrigued by this potential ability. It's kind of a punt. Obviously, I don't even think we had him fully scouted. There were some other offers coming in, but he's 19, left-footed only, could be the next Joe Gelhardt. Here's the deal that we've done with Varberg's Ball och Idrott Slapkap. The less that's said about that, the better. They are in the Allsvenskan, the top league in Sweden. Last year, they finished 13th, but they didn't get relegated. They're in the mix. We've picked him up for 1.1 million with a loan for the next 18 months. So the rest of this season for them, because they are on a January to December type season, and then the following season. So until essentially the January transfer window, not this one, the next one, he's going to be on loan. But he's on loan as a regular starter. He with them, right? Had 17 appearances, 5 goals on a 7.31. Thus far on loan, right back to them. He never left other than to come sign the contract. 3 starts on a 7.33. And I did look, in case you're wondering, facilities-wise, they have good training facilities. So I know it's not the highest level. I have had real problems finding loans for players. Like, no one wants to loan our players for any kind of wages or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead. Let's leave him in Sweden. Let's get him started on learning German, right? Got him sent on the linguistics course, whatever. That's not what it's called in the game. I'm blanking out. And get him to be an actual regular player. He doesn't know German at all, and give him time to develop. So we're pulling a little bit of a Chelsea, I think, by picking him up. And again, I'm not saying he's a worldie, but like if you take the crossing or finishing, whichever one you want to do, if it's an inverted winger or an inside forward, if he gets close to that potential, could be pretty good. Now, they are only paying $1,400 a week, which is what they were paying him originally, so we are eating some of that cost, but, I think it's all right. And he's got a minimum release clause at $10 million. Someone wants to buy him in the middle of the season for $10 million when we paid 1.1, we would take that. This is who we traded Nassim for, essentially. We picked up Luciano Ferreira for 875 grand after selling Nassim for 875 grand. Or maybe we sold him and then we picked this guy up. Again, didn't have him fully scouted because it takes a long time for us to scout players that are in Argentina. He's done all right in the Argentine league there. And 22, you know, a little bit of potential ability, but I think it's like we're importing him so that we can use him for a year and then sell him on. That's the plan. Sell him for 2 million, do deals like that. And I do think if you compare, if we can we compare him? He's better. Not significantly better, but his attacking is better. His vision is better. His speed is better. His mentals are better. And his technicals are better. The only thing he's lacking is the aerial, right? Because he's 5'5", where Nassim is 5'11". So everything else I think is an improvement. And in a pinch, he can play midfield, which we might need. And as a 10, which we might need. We'll talk about that. So inverted winger or inside forward. Overall, lots of good, tasty yellow here. I think, and he only wanted French player. So we're paying him 10 grand less than we're paying Nassim. We essentially sell Nassim for 875, buy this guy for 875, save 10 grand on the wage budget, and go from a guy who wants to be a squad player to a French player. I think that's very, very good. 2 left, my friends. Christian Jakic, I think is how you say it, from AC Milan, was on a squad player contract, wanted important player minutes. Is he a massive upgrade over Victor? Maybe? I mean, just from an age standpoint, yes. So I think we got a bargain. We're paying 3.8 million up front, 5.5 with all the add-ons. He's currently worth 10.5 to 11.5, so we've doubled our money. I mean, it's partly because of his contract, which is a 4-year deal. That's fine. But I think if you go here and we compare, because yes, Victor Paulsen is still in the squad, he's an improvement. Clearly, we have dropped Victor down to a fringe player, which is important. And he is our new ball-winning midfielder. So those of you in the comments are like, you really need to go find somebody that can make a crunching tackle, hold down that midfield. It's Christian. And you may be wondering, why did you keep Victor? Well, he's our captain. And he can, if we're going to play a 3 at the back, he can play the wing back, he can play an actual right back, and he can play center back. We do have him training on center back right now. He can play the DM if we play something with a 4-3-3, something like that. So we've kept him around, but Christian is now going to be the ball-winning midfielder starter. And then we came across Fabio Vieira, who was late in the transfer window. I think we signed him August 12th, 5 days ago. Why'd you go after him? You got Joe Gelhardt, you got Metza. Metza wants to go. We'll click over to that here in a second. So Vieira, I think, is the perfect replacement. He could take Joe Gelhardt's minutes, even though we have promised Joe regular starter minutes. We'll deal with that. I have a plan. I've actually thought this through. And Fabio can play the 10. He can actually do both. He's very versatile. Very, very versatile. We're only paying him 40 grand a week. That sounds absurd to say only, but in context of some of the other wages, he's a Porto product through and through, but really hasn't played a lot for them, to be completely honest with you. And his really good appearances here are with the B team. So this is not at the same level, but he did get 6 starts, 7 subs, not last season, but the season before that on a 7.39, and then 3 subs for no rating. So like, just wasn't utilized by Porto. So they cashed out big. Like, they're loving this purchase, clearly. And it wasn't, I mean, he had, you know, a double hernia in 2022, but that wasn't last season. So I don't know why they didn't use him. Shoots from distance, dictate tempo, moves ball to left foot before dribble attempt because he's left-footed only. Cuts inside from the right wing. We play with an invert inside forward on that side. And again, can take the 10 spot if we need him to. And he's worth 19 to 21 million. I think we had some add-ons. It's like if he plays 50 games or scores 50 goals, one or the other, 18.75 million. There was another suitor, another team had come in, and I think offered a little bit more money just up front, and they came back and said, hey, nobody agreed to this, but would you take this? And I said, yes, because Metza wants to leave. So welcome in, Fabio. He just got here. So here's Maximiliano. He wants to go to Nice because he wants to play in the Europa Conference League. It's been a dream of his since being a child. And I'm a little conflicted. I've delayed the transfer twice because I wanted to make sure we got Fabio in. Like, I was going to say tough it out, bro. I do think now we can afford to let him go, if that makes sense, because we have Fabio. And they're offering essentially 2.8. It's like 1.3 up front, but the rest is installments. So like we are going to get paid. It's not like based on the number of appearances or something like that. And I go, here's a guy who we paid 1.3. So we're going to get our purchase price back immediately. And then double our money. Well, double our money up to, what did I say? 2.8 off of that on a guy who's making 56 grand as a 32-year-old. He'll be 33 in January. Who, was a 6.79 last season. He was a 6.58 in the cup. Now, to be fair, in continental competition, he was a 7.15, so I can't ignore that. But, in league play, 27 starts, 3 subs, 4 assists from your number 10, who's playing as an advanced playmaker. Again, there were games where we played him on the wing, we played him as a roaming playmaker, whatever. But he's not going to get any better. And so I haven't made a decision here. I'd like your thoughts. I'd hate to lose the determination and the teamwork and like all that. But I also think if we don't say yes, and his contract is up in a year, if we don't say yes, he's going to bounce, or he's going to be really unhappy, I should say, because there's no release clause to force him to bounce. I was saying 2 things in my head before I said that. And I think, if you look here, right, Fabio, close to being a replacement, or Xavi Simons could be, now his attacking threat, not as good, could play the 10, or, wait for it, we did get an 11 million offer for Zalazar, but he didn't want to go. It's a Krasnodar. Zalazar could play there. Okay, we have options is what I feel like. And so I kind of go, he's not going to get any better. He's going to turn into Steve Cook, right? These numbers are going to go down. Quality guy, but cash in while you can. What are your thoughts? I want to hear from you in the comments. So this is what it looks like, my friends. 41 million in, 24.5 million out. We have actually spent money. You can see we've loaned out Luca, and we got some other things in the mix. I'm trying to find somebody to loan the likes of Sane. I'm trying to sell Chan Aydin. Nobody wants them. Same thing with Eric Lanfer, Leo Weikert. You can't see those guys. They're just not good enough. They're just not going to make it. We have retained the services of Abner Aloui, because he can play right back or center back. I mean, obviously he can play left back, but he's right-footed, so I would play him at right center back or right back. And I think we can actually give him the minutes that he deserves. We upped his contract to 14 grand. He took it. So from the squad standpoint, we are playing Dortmund first game of the season. So we are going to play the cautious counter-fluid attacking, which is also why I've delayed Metz's contract, because he's our best like right-footed actual winger. But go play him, and then we'll do the deal maybe. But outside of that, okay, if we're looking at the 4-2-3-1, we put DK up top because he knows the role. I know I talked about putting him at inside forward, but like we can't do that now. Origi, because he can play all over the place, but he's really our best option on the left inside forward. Jakic would be here. This gives us the options. If you look here, Simons is now actually somehow listed better than Metza in the squad. So like we could do this, okay? And that way, okay, when you do it that way, explain that to me. Why, if I'm looking at this screen, they're all pretty even is how I take that. But it's like, is Xavi Simons the best one or not? Well, when you switch it, it says, well, Zalazar is actually the best. That's dumb. But I could play either of those guys. We also have Fabio Vieira. That is going to need to learn the role. He's not Matt Sharp. He just got here. Joe Gelhardt can play there. Fowler can play there. Evan Rotundo is like, where's my minutes coming from, bro? I think we've got options there. And then obviously, if Metza goes, we can put Origi out here. We can Balogun out here. Obviously, we got Fabio would go out there if we're going to play Zalazar or Simons as the 10. Okay, so that's kind of the thinking there. Maybe rotate those guys, or really, it's going to look like where'd he go? I'm blanking out. There he is. It's going to look like something like that. But I wanted us to give a shot at this. We were defensively not very solid last season. If we come back here, look at the stages, go to last season, the board want us to be defensively solid. I guess we were mid-table. they still said we weren't that good. Like 53 goals conceded. Not great, in my opinion. And so I said, okay, I'd really like to get this 5 in the back to work somehow. So with the squad that we've got, okay, Origi knows the false 9. DK knows the complete forward. This is how if you go to vertical tiki-taka, this is one of the only formations that has a 5-2-1-2. Obviously, we wouldn't use Vieira. We'd use, like, Abner, something like this. Hanko, Shimikas, Patrick, because that's a pretty solid back line. Abner needs to improve, so I'm not saying we would use this a lot, but he needs to improve. We've also got Nikolai Bolison, who we might sell, but he is pretty nice to have just from a, that standpoint, but his physicals are falling apart, so maybe not. Ball-winning midfielder, box-to-box midfielder, and then we're kind of focusing down here, right? Like, let's say we got some injuries to the wings, something like that. And I also think this gives an opportunity, like Joe Gelhardt can play, shadow striker or advanced playmaker. He can also play the false 9. That's actually, his best role. So, like, he's not going to necessarily miss out on a ton of minutes because he could play there. Marcin, we have started training as a complete forward. You'll notice his finishing is going up, so he could take that complete forward spot up top. And then Balogun is, already knowledgeable on advanced forward and false 9 and complete forward. So, like, it does work with the squad that we have. I don't know if we're talented enough to vertical tiki-taka, but we might try it. But obviously against Dortmund, I'll have to get this all back to how it was with these guys all over the place. That's kind of how we're going to line up. We did beat Sandhausen in the DFB Pokal first round. Only 1-0, but you'll notice we put Luka Podlak in goal, Joe Scally, Malik, Nikolai, Shimikas, Metin Yilmaz, Evan Rotundo, Zalazar, Joe Gelhardt, and City Sane, and Marcin was our starting 11. So, like, it was the youth squad plus Shimikas because it was his first game for us, Malik, an aging Bolison, and Zalazar, and and I guess maybe Joe Gelhardt. So, not loving that Sandhausen, who are currently in the Dritte Bundesliga, the third Liga, whatever you want to call it. I don't love that it took that long, to score in the 42nd minute, and then we didn't score again, but we got the job done, right? Other things, I'm looking at my other screen here. We extended Evan Rotundo's contract up to 11 grand. We offered Malik a new contract, which I personally think might be a mistake, but we've taken him from 27.5 to 42.5. I think his composure is a problem, but I'm thinking I have to go with the theme of the save, is that Malik is a youth prospect. I know I just sold Nassim, but, like, Malik is a good youth prospect. So, like, we want to keep players from Schalke in the mix, and that enabled us to do it. His contract release clause now is up to 50 million versus it was at 20 million, so we were at risk at losing him. We released Steve Cook. Origi was our top kit sold. Yes. We tried to sign, this one hurt a little bit, Domingos Quina. He goes to Granada for 6.6 million. We offered the same 6.6 million, and I think we even offered more money, and he decided to still go to Granada, which was like, ouch. It's a little low blow. Daniel Farka is the Sandhausen manager, and then I just want to show you one more player, and then we'll wrap up the episode. Josh Sargent is at Freiburg. Freiburg, apparently, this is their largest signing ever. It said they broke the transfer record to sign Josh Sargent. Like, came up in the news, 19.25 million. After Bayer Leverkusen picks him up off Norwich for, 5 million more than they paid. He had a good 2 games there. I mean, to be fair, he's playing much better in FM than he's playing in real life. Now, that's in the championship. They got relegated, so maybe that's why. But then he does a 7-1-9 with Bayer, and then Freiburg picks him up, which I was very, very surprised by. So, just interesting movements in the transfer market here, my friends. Oh, I didn't do the signings of the season. Into season awards. We'll do it next episode. Would you let Maximiliano go? And what do you think about this? Hit the like button, my friends, especially if you enjoyed that intro. We're trying to get to 6,500 subscribers on our way to 10,000, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.